Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
Okay,
Yo, man. Alright, I'm going to do this.
Go for it.
Yo, my Star Citizens and Noob Gamers. Welcome back to another episode of Star Citizen with me, Meninx. And today I'm on with Kilthanis, the second half of Noobs Gaming. And so today we're going to go through some of these comments from the video our solo players left out. Let's discuss. We purposely haven't gone through these and answered them, just so that we could do this video and go back through. Didn't realise there was going to be over 300 at this point. There's about 360-ish or something like that. So let's go through these and we're going to discuss them, me and Kilthanis.
I mean, we were going to go through and pick out select ones, but it's just so many. We're like, you know what, just random.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Do it on the fly.
Right, so first one, the very bottom one we've got, some guys put, or somebody's put, nothing, solo game isn't the end game, get over it. It's early game, get over it. And I put get over what? Don't underestimate, it can play both ways, don't underestimate the solo player. And he's put get over, not having your own station, giant base, solo flying your carrick. And I put, I have an org, so I'll definitely be able to have a station in the base. Solo players pay money into the game too. And if that's pushed aside, who's going to develop and maintain the game? And he's put solo game is not the end game, multiplayer is a multiplayer game. Right, so let's address that. So yeah, it's an MMO. Or, well, people are saying it's not an MMO, but a lot of people say it's an MMO. And like I put in there, if solo players have no need to buy a multi-crew ship, and that'll be things like the Max, the Carrack, even the C1 and the Zeus. If there's no point in buying multi-crew ships and you have to stick to something like a Hull A or a Nomad or something like that, then if you only orgs are buying these big ships, not everybody has to buy them because an org will buy it between them. So your sales go from hundreds of thousands of big ships down to maybe hundreds or just thousands. And then that money, who then has the money to maintain the servers when this game is out?
So quickly about this MMO thing, which is a little bit... I've played many MMOs, and I've played them single player, I've played them in guilds, I've ran guilds, you know what I mean? And I don't think you can, isolate and ignore the solo player in any game. I think it's meant to be, a experience for everyone to enjoy. Unfortunately, you're going to get, organizations, guilds, whatever you like to call them, that are going to be super powerful, ultra, AAA guilds, with the best players, the best kit, the best of everything, with all the money and all the finance, and all the resources available. But you also get solo players that just don't really want to be a part of that, because a lot of orgs want commitment, especially in things like World of Warcraft. Going to raid on Thursday, going to raid on Sunday. A lot of people can't be done with that. They just want to be a casual game playing. I think that Star Citizen can be a casual game, especially if you're doing, mining and stuff. But the big issue is what are CIG doing about solo players? And at the moment, it doesn't look like a lot. They're sort of, I'd say, alienating them, but until they bring out NPCs, which we've talked about many times in the last 2 years, and it's
not going to come out till after one.
Exactly, which could be 4 years' time.
Yeah. So let's go forward on that. So basically, for me, it's well, if solo players stop buying big ships, where does the funding for maintaining them servers come from?
Share your screen, mate. You share your
screen? My screen? Yeah,
share screen. Because at the moment, I'm sort of like not seeing messages. Okay, that's okay. So where you at? No, yeah.
So 1 second on. So this guy only buys max crew of 2 and less. Basically, all his ships are designed for solo player. Keeping stealthy is key. Yeah. So that's the thing. There is going to be solo game in there. It's just that, are they going to miss out on the beautiful things, like the bigger ships and stuff like that, and then when the raids come, like the big worm thing and
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I know
Well,
you can jump in little small crews, but
I wonder if they're like, a lot of MMOs have things like pugs, which is pick up group. Whether for say
yeah,
the worms, whether you can actually just join solo-ish, in a pick up group and go and do that content. So that might be an option for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, in fairness. But the big, again, the big ships, it's going to be with engineering and then, navigation, then all the other stuff, the wonderful stuff they're going to bring to the game is just going to push it further away from the solo player. And probably smaller orgs.
yeah.
Because
So
small orgs only might be 3 or 4 players.
well, that's it, yeah. So the next guy, to be honest, we live in a society, it's too entitled inclusive. Star Citizen has always been going to be an MMO designed to draw players together. The more that you draw together, the better the advantage is. In immersive and realistic, we see CIG repeatedly saying over the years that they wanted the game to be this. It's fine for people to be introvert. I'm an introvert, but don't expect every game you have an interest in to cater for and design the game around you. Don't get upset that solo player is a disadvantage in some ways. Is narcissistic. There are hundreds or even thousands in the game, specifically for solo. Even CIG is making a solo experience Squadron 42, but it's not enough for some complaining that even MMO Star Citizens needs to create solo players. It's like buying a Ferrari and complaining it's a bad MPG. It doesn't make sense. Well, as we said earlier, if the solo players are not buying big ships, who's going to fund the servers? Who's going to fund the designers for new big ships?
Yeah.
If you find that these big orgs are not, say I don't know how many players there are out there currently and how many of those are banded into orgs, but say if you have maybe 100 big orgs, that's 100. If they're selling the space station, 100 space stations sold instead of hundreds of thousands of space stations sold or whatever. Now, and that goes to the same with the ships. Like if you've got a ship that's 2 crew or more, solo players are not going to buy them, so the ship sales go down from, possibly thousands to probably hundreds.
Yeah,
and then who's gonna maintain the servers?
Obviously, we're speculating about numbers here.
We
haven't got any evidence of real numbers or costs of servers or anything like that. So it's only from our outside looking inside viewpoint. And it is there could be a hit. It also, I suppose, does depend on what other stuff they're going to dangle in front of you in terms of purchases. I guess if they're going to do like towns, or little hamlet type thing, you might find that people sort of naturally join together anyway. I guess I don't know. It just seems it could be sort of quite fluid. I guess.
Seems like a lot of these earlier comments are things like that about the MMO. It's heavily org based MMO. If you don't like group PvP play, then the game's not for you. There's plenty of other games out there. But why do I have to play? Not me specifically. We have an org. we can do all this stuff that we're talking about. We can get a space station, and we can do all of that. We're not mourning for ourselves. We're saying there is a danger that if say 80% of the player base is solo and there's no need for them to buy a bigger ship, who's going to fund the servers?
And I think people will remember this is like a video that's thrown out there, what I mean, to see what reaction is.
Yeah.
If you that comment there, you don't like PvP or group play, the game's not for you. But there's a lot of people that like to play around other people, don't necessarily want to be in a group with them.
Yeah.
It's the atmosphere, isn't it? If you see actual people with name tags on them and stuff like that, and then eventually they could start, in a year down the road, they might join an org. So you might start off as solo, but that's not to say you're always going to be solo.
Yeah,
it's just this period in between, all the engineering stuff that's coming through and all the rest of it, all the way through to this, NPC AI stuff, which could be years away. Okay.
Yep. So next one is I actually answered this one. He's saying it's stupid. It's a stupid argument basically that 90% of solo players, he's 90% solo player, and Hogs space stations will take nothing away from solos. Again, the same sort of argument. We've got Squadron 42 as a single player. And then I answered that and said, but about the ships, well, who's, it's going to take ship sales down. And he's saying it's a disingenuous argument. Many backers have huge concierge hangars. Yeah, and the thing is when you bought your Banu Merchantman, now, when you was buying your Banu Merchantman, if they said, well, you can only run this ship as a multi-crew, was there any point in buying it if you were going to play it solo? When I bought the C1, it was at a certain time. Same with the Zeus, it was a certain time, and certain things were supposed to be, for the game that it was then. And the game's going to be changed.
I'm going to be brutally honest. Yeah, I would have done, because I love the ship, the look of the ship. And we had conversations right until I bought it about, probably won't be able to run it because I ain't got enough crew.
Yeah.
And then we said it would be an org ship.
But that's it. We've got an org. We do have an org, and that's the point. But would a solo player buy it? That's the point, and that's the question we can put to people in the comments. Would you now, as a solo player, stop buying bigger ships? Did you buy bigger ships before this whole engineering was about to come along, where you're going to have to fix your ship as well as fight and fly your ship?
Also, it's like, have people actually bought a big ship, or they just gone for the Pisces or the Pata or a small ship? Because of the fact that it's going to be an issue later on as a solo player before they get NPCs.
Yeah, but as they said today, there was a post out today about NPCs coming after 1.0. Now, we was talking and saying, is 1.0 going to come before or after Squadron 42? We know Squadron 42 is coming in 2026. That could be beginning or end. So if that's going to be a year and a half, maybe 2 years, is one going to come after that? And if it is, then we're talking maybe 3 years before we get NPCs.
I'd say probably near 4.
So there's that.
I mean, I always sort of, they say Squadron 42 is earmarked for 2026.
Yeah.
2028, 2026. So 2 years delayed again. So almost like whatever they can say about 1, you've got to double it. So if they say it's 3 years, it's going to be 6. So, and there's a lot more, obviously with the server motion and stuff as well, there's a lot of work to do. So yeah, and it's the argument really is not about 1, it's about between now and 1, really.
Yeah.
This is what we're trying to sort of say.
Yeah.
Because obviously when they get the NPC sorted, you're just going higher. So solo gameplay is viable again.
So I'm just going through some of these comments because we're not going to get through them all, obviously.
No.
And a lot of them are saying the same about NPCs and blades, small groups, small bases, big groups, big bases. Basically, stop crying that you can't take over a planet as a solo player. No need to discuss the game will be dead before 1.0.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
The thing is we're not crying over it.
We're not crying.
We have an org. We're not crying over it. What we're trying to get across is, are CIG going to shoot themselves in the foot by eliminating the need for people to buy big ships? That's the real question in this. If a solo player can't buy a big ship, will a solo player stop buying a big ship if you was buying them because you don't need to if you're in an org because somebody else in the org will have it? And does that then affect the funding that CIG are getting? That's the question I think we sort of are on now. Not whether we can take over a planet or own a whole space station ourselves, or I think part of it was answered with the blades today. That we're going to get AI blades for the bigger ships, but they've also said they're not going to be as good as a human, and you're going to have to upgrade them to be better, which is something in the end. But would you still buy a bigger ship if you've got half-cocked AI on it?
Yeah, I mean, until we actually see it, which it's going to be 3 years away,
Mm.
possibly. Maybe 2. It's not going to be next year, that's for sure. So, just solo play, stop for like 2 years, check out for 2 years, or just buy a ship anyway, like I kind of did because I liked it, knowing that it's going to be awkward, but let's see what happens when NPCs turn up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think I don't know because I know that CRG are going to come out with stuff. They're going into this base building stuff. Is it going to be real money transactions with that as well? Not said anything about that yet, have they?
No.
But it's going to be that's going to be interesting. And you could probably do that solo.
Yeah.
So that'll be another loop, But in terms of like running your ships, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that.
So basically, someone was talking about like I don't know. I don't know if this person's part of our Discord. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
And they're saying about it's a dream. You got to get keep your expectations realistic. And then I was reading one of the comments on his one, and it's saying he's a solo player and he owns almost every ship. And we were sold a promise that all ships were soloable for more than the first half of Star Citizen development. We understood the Idris needed people, but they keep moving the goalposts to now include everything above starter ship. In the past, you could just run turrets until you couldn't run turrets until a crew was in. Now they're taking the pilot control systems away from them to force multi-crew.
Right.
So
that's an issue, isn't it? For someone that was promised something. Probably, I mean, he doesn't say when he purchased these ships, but it sounds like he's been playing the game for a long while.
Yeah.
Longer than us, that's for sure.
But that's the thing. I think I had this discussion with someone not long back about the C1 when they changed the snap positions of the C1, and they were saying, well, it's always been a 64 SCU ship, and I said, yeah, it was, but they had the snap grids at a certain position that you could, if you wanted to, put more into it. When I bought that ship, or tried that ship, that's what it was, and so I bought it, and now they've changed that. Can I now ask for my money back because it no longer serves the needs of what I was promised when I had it at the beginning? You know what I mean? Because the ship is in game, and the ship is currently in game, so they've changed it. Now can I say, oh, well, actually, I'd rather have my money back now because you've changed it? That's not going to happen, is it?
But I mean, the other thing as well is, and I think that CRG have been pretty clever about this, is been the ability to burn ship. You know what I mean? To the point that, because I was thinking that, I've got the Merchantman, it's not coming anytime soon. Do I just burn it and get, say, the Perseus or something like that? Something that is going to probably turn up in the next 6 months. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you'll get your buyback token anyway, won't you?
Yeah. So that's something to consider. I mean, and then you bank the money. So the rest of it for others, when they do finally get around to getting crewable ships, then you just buy it back. I don't. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's still a lot of stuff up in the air. Was there any
Again, a couple more comments.
Was there any other replies to that?
Yeah. Same thing. I haven't been on. So the original poster posted. Yeah. He hasn't been on for long, 2 years, and only a starter ship upgrade to an MR. No, I have absolutely no clue what it was like then. CG, I can see CIG making promises. They definitely need to deliver. I personally don't vote with my wallet, so I play to help others to support the game, not in a shun people who want support. Game through money I too would if I had it. I'm not too sure entirely what the engineering playout would be like. It wouldn't be too much restrictive. I shouldn't at least I could be wrong. I would honestly like to have my own AIs to man the ship. All sorts of entirely limited multiplayer and required a bunch of people.
So on that point there, I mean, obviously engineering sounds like it's going to be when required.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's on demand. So you could be, co-pilot 1 minute and then jumping at the seat and trying to fix something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the problem comes when you've got bigger ships with more issues. Do you know what I mean? Not in places at once. especially when they bring the fire stuff into it as well. Because that just, it's reactive time.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. No, it's just.
The game, 100% left out. The game will be so complex in the end that only people living in a homeless shelter without a job will be able to invest enough time.
Well, there is that. I've pointed out.
We know that all too well. But someone else, I did read a comment on this yesterday, and someone was saying they work 13 hours a day. Something like that. They work 13 hours a day, something like that it was. And that's a long time to be working. And when he does get time to play, it takes too long to then get a group together, all meet in one place, especially with what goes on with Star Citizen, it constantly crashing, before they can even start doing anything. And then it's just too much of a mess.
How many times have we said that?
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? You just, it's not one of those games you can just log straight into and play. It's about an hour before you get anything done.
Someone he got nervous when they was talking about the worm spawning near mineral deposits. Even mining's going to require combat. Something we don't do a lot of combat yet,
No, I can't. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the combat. Ship combat, forget it. I'm useless. But give me a gun, and I'll kill something. I'll kill something, even if it's a friendly fire. System, they won't be able to do anything.
Yeah, saying solo is a solo player, plenty of opportunities for entertainment. 100%, he agrees 100% on the engineering damage. If you're a solo player, it's going to be tough. So again, that's the thing, isn't it? If you're going to have to, you're not going to be able to have the multi-crew ships because you're going to need to be flying it while someone's sorting stuff out.
See, another thing as well, is with a lot of this is how much is it going to cost to have a multi-crew AI NPC, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
If you're a casual player, you might not be able to afford it. It's dependent on the pricing, isn't it? If it's going to be a $100,000, a week to hire a couple of NPCs. I mean, that's the way we've been looking at the challenges of trading. For a solo player with a small ship, that might take a bit of a while.
Yeah. Someone's saying here you can still do all that stuff, like the space stations and stuff like that, but you won't be able to run big ships. That's the point. You won't be able to run big ships soon.
And because we don't know much about the space stations, again, unless it's fully automated defences, you're going to be struggling with that as well.
Yeah. So someone's saying again about the NPCs, which is going to be good.
Angel Pure.
Yeah. But yeah, again, when are we going to get the NPCs? Because they said after 1.0.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, probably 3 or 4 years, probably.
Yeah. Solo players don't need space stations. You've already got one. It's called your personal hangar. And I actually commented back on this one. Personal hangars are not space stations. They're on your own planets. You can't keep your personal stuff at a base on a space station hangar. That's instanced.
Who's that from?
Lily.
Apologies.
Lelon.
Apologies. It's been a long day. Yeah. Only space stations. No, they don't. But again, I think because it's going to be like planet building stuff as well. It doesn't need to be a space station, does it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's home bases.
Yeah.
Da.
I mean, essentially, it's like having a big castle in it. So you've got your little house, your little terraced house, and then you've got a big castle.
Yeah. Solo players will always have a niche to film.
Yep. I think the other thing as well is will solo players get put off the game?
Yeah.
In long term, and quit playing it until NPCs turn up.
So someone's put here, you're talking about me, and I can't wait for a multiplayer game to be more mature for a simple reason. CIG needs to define good multiplayer systems before they can design good single player ships. Now that we start seeing the engineering gameplay taking shape, they can start thinking about systems and limitations for single player ships. That way the single player ship might be more powerful than your unaffected multiplayer ships, understaffed multiplayer ships. I bought a Carrack and like to walk around it sometimes in my anger, but I'll never take it out because it's impossible for the pilots who use the guns. I don't mind that. I think it's a good way to balance the game to prevent pay to win. With regards to base building, they made perfectly clear when I build my homestead on a lawful planet, it'll be very safe when I log off. I don't expect to ever build my own space station though. I've been part of a big org and basically assign you a guard duty and provide training and stuff if that's what you like. A space station or base is perfect object for you to protect. Personally, I prefer working in real life and not when I'm off work.
Yeah. So that was Rem.
Yep. Rem.
So I have more entertainment trying to name these people. Rem Cocker.
Rem Cocker. Rem Cocker.
Kahaka.
Kahaka.
Okay.
Rem Kahaka.
Apologies for ruining that. to murdering your name.
There's always ways to play solo. There will be.
Yes, that's yes. Stainless.
Beggars Outpost. There'll always be NPC crews. It doesn't matter if you're multi-crews. If you don't like it coming in the way why you can still buy multi-crew ships and fly them, get over it.
So are these people
NPCs are coming in a couple of years?
Solo players, or are these just people in orgs that
Yeah.
say get over it?
Get over. The thing is people are saying get over it, and that's not the discussion. The thing is like I stated in the video, we have an org. There's nothing for us to get over. We want to build a space station. We've got 60 people in our org. We can build a space station, I'm sure, with 60 people. Like,
sometimes it's context, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is he meaning solo players get over it, or does he mean us get over it?
Us personally. Well, I mean, we did the video,
You know
but
what I mean?
the thing is, like I said, it's not, we're not talking about us.
No.
Generally, we're talking about solo players. What are they gonna get alienated in this?
This is it. Yeah. You ever buy a big ship? Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Brokes. That's some people buy it with a view to run it when there's NPCs.
Yeah, and like they say, so if everybody comes on as a solo player, then none of the big ships are going to get bought, are they? Because everyone's going to be a solo player to begin with. So who then owns that ship? And what if say we've got 60 people in our org. Say we want to take out a Carrack, and say like 3 people have got a Carrack. What if one of those 3 people are not, and somebody else is going to have to buy a Carrack? What if they haven't got the money to buy that Carrack, or what if they don't want to buy that Carrack just for a couple of times that they might be on? Like, it's just not. People are just not going to buy these big ships anymore because there's no point in them, because they can't just take it out themselves.
I think there's going to be 2 lanes. People that just think, sod you, not going to do it. And other people like myself that will say, do you know what? I can wait. I can wait for 4, 5, 6, 10 years. Or hand it down to my boys. It's going to be... It's a personal choice, isn't it? And I suppose one thing CIG are doing is actually just being upfront about it. Well, kind of upfront, I suppose. And the explanation about what they're going to do doesn't, as I said earlier, isn't really going to affect until 1.0.
Yeah.
So it's from us, from this point now to then. That's that guy, so Lulenti 24, just up. I'll keep going. So yeah, him. I've been playing MMOs for a long time, same here. Blah blah blah. And I've done the same. I start a solo, and then with Warcraft, it was just a case of like you meet some people on your travels, you hook up and maybe do a mission with them or quest, and then they say, "Do you want to join my guild?" And you say, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah.
And then you're in the guild. So the same could be happening. You could bail someone out. You know what I mean? There's 2 or 3 of you, and he's getting beaten up by someone. You know what I mean? And you bail him out. He says thank you, and you think, "Oh, do you want to join our org?"
So I'm looking at this pinch of luck one here, and he's saying naturally solo players with orgs are definitely going to be left out of gameplay, and that's how it should be. If you want a solo and contribute nothing, great, no content for you. Simple logic. The rewards for those with more sociable, because it's an MMO. Now,
not sure about
the thing is
nothing.
A solo player paid the money. They should have access to the game.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I mean, in a harsh way, he's kind of right, but also that there's still content for and contribution by solo players somewhere.
It's like, you know, it's the whole argument with bike push bikes on the roads, and people say, well, they haven't paid road tax or insurance, they shouldn't be on the road.
Yeah,
you know, but we're paying our money. Solo players are paying the money, probably majority of the money into Star Citizen.
And I don't think that's what CRG want. I don't think they want that.
Well, that posted it today. They want to cater for solo and orgs. They said that posted it today.
Yeah.
So you read that one.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games till a big Chinese Zerg comes from your stuff. So yeah, he's gone to buy ships that he can run on his own. Eh?
Det Patman.
Det Patman.
Okay.
These are changing. You see them? They keep changing.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is that Happy is
Happy Sack. Happy Sack.
We're going to spend half the video is going to be trying to pronounce his names. You know what I mean?
Happy Sacks.
How's this 3 hours long?
Happy Sacks, Happy Place.
Very good. Nice name. Pretty sure that's not his surname, but.
So I've largely gone back to Elite. I love Star Citizen. I love both games for different reasons, but I find Star Citizen overly complex, time-consuming, and there's no need. There seems to be no end to ever interesting layers of complexity to the game. Elite is better gameplay for solo players. Star Citizen is a promise, and I love it, but I feel it's getting beyond me now. Maybe Squadron 44 will be a better option.
Yeah, I mean, a personal preference. The game's all developing, but it's getting complex. But I think once they bring out NPCs that can actually do something and actually sit down in chairs properly and wander around, it's going to get overly complex.
It is.
We haven't even got to things like Navigator, stuff like that, have we?
So someone's put again another one. It's ridiculous to want a space station as a solo player. We're not saying that. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying solo players should have space stations and be able to run the space stations. What we're saying is, by them only being exclusive, maybe being only exclusive to big orgs, there's going to be no sales. And it's not just about the space stations, even though there's a space station on the thumbnail. It's not just about that. It's also about your ground bases, and it's about the multiplayer ships, multi-crew ships. People pay money. If there's no need for a solo player to pay money for a multi-crew ship, and they're going for these $40 ships instead, then who pays for the maintenance of the servers?
That's it. I mean, obviously, as I said earlier, we don't really know the costs, so we're just speculating.
Yeah.
What? So just to sort of remind you guys that we are doing this off the fly. So we haven't done any research into the questions. That's why there's a little bit of delay. Or we pick out some sort of questions that look like they've had. We seem to go for the ones with 0 replies. And obviously the names, some of the names were like, what? So
Yeah, so again, like Lucid Strike says, not all more like just not all activities. Yeah, we understand that, but again, maybe like we've said it many times, it's not just about that. It's not just about the space stations and the raids and stuff like that. We're not talking about solo players missing out. What we're talking about is if there's no point in solo players buying big ships because they're org only or multi-crew only, so there's no point. What's the point for a solo player in buying a big ship, and then does that affect CIG's costs? Yep, there should be again, Jax. There should be NPCs for hire, solo players coming after 1.0. It was announced today.
Yeah. Which
this guy's going to solo win his Polaris.
which is amazing. About 4 years time.
Yeah, he sees it as just a game. So Ferry Battleface sees it as a game. He's going to solo his Polaris.
Excellent. Can we can we see a video of that?
Yeah. Ubefoot NPC crews for solo players. Again, we were just that. It's going to be a few years probably.
Yeah. We've got this. Macho, all right.
We're not entitled. Solo players are not asking for entitlement. They're just. What we're saying is, what's the point in them investing in a game, and then if they don't invest in the game, then these big orgs have nothing to play. It's the same argument as a football team. Like someone says once, why they said it to someone I know. Why do you support this certain football team? And the reply was, well, if I didn't support them with the other thousands of people that support them, there wouldn't be a football team for your football team to play. And therefore, your football team wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a loyalty thing as well, I think.
Yeah. So that's the same thing. It's the same thing. Is without the solo players, what's left for the org players?
Yeah.
handing over your hard-earned cash to Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to, is the game scam?
Yeah. Again, so I got a feeling a lot of these questions I've probably already answered. Like, we're not asking for a single solo. It'd be nice, you could have your own little base, maybe, but not a single solo a space station. Or maybe you could have a space station that is not for your org. That maybe there's a space station you can have that people can come and visit for. You don't have to have an org defending it.
Or do you have like a space station that's just like a load of random people that get together?
Yeah, like what you could have like a commerce space station. Why can't we build a commerce space station? Where we can store cargo and people can come and sell us their cargo. You know what I mean?
Or a ship like the Banu Merchantman, let's say, that's never going to be around. Okay, I'll stop going. Maybe on the part of hiring NPC gunners.
Yeah, again, NPC gunners are going to be in a few years. But I mean, the Banu probably won't even be around then. Anyway,
at least I think it's earmarked for like 3.0.
Yeah.
After live.
See, that changed then. I was just about to read that question. It was changed.
Where are they going then?
I don't know.
Is it because it gets like replies or something?
Refreshed or something, yeah.
I think
more than base building, I think engineering gameplay will kill the solo player trying to do anything more than a single-seater ship. I still think engineering should boost the ship, not hinder it. It's a good point. And this is what we were talking about. And this here is the main point. One of the main points we're talking about. We're not talking about the space stations itself. No. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this. A single player has no need for a multi-crew ship now until NPCs or blades come out because of engineering. If engineering is going to cause fires in your ship and you've got to go and turn off certain things, and then go and put out the fires and then replace fuses, and if you're in a battle, you can't do that. You can't do that. So there's no point. That's exactly this. This is what's going to kill off solo players buying bigger ships.
Yeah,
if that could end up killing off the funding.
You could be, having 3 bits of kit go down in the ship, and there's only one of you. So, you're going to have to get out of your ship somehow, sit in duck, or we're just going to try and melt away somewhere.
Yeah. So again, another one here by Lulu Gaming that I did answer. He said, "Let's be real here. Not all solo play. It's not a solo player build. It's for orgs. These are the end game. The tax power keep up the maintenance upkeep of much small orgs. We were org alliance will come into play. Not everything will be solo. There needs to be a reason for orgs to work together. If you can just solo, there's no point. If you think for 1 second there'll be no solo gameplay, then you didn't watch CityScan. We know there's going to be single player stuff.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
I mean, what Lulu's Gaming said, we've already talked about as well, haven't we? Like,
yeah.
The maintenance and upkeep, and it might be too much for smaller orgs and alliances as well.
Yeah.
Against
I replied to that with shifting towards mainly orgs means a lot of people will have to be on a schedule. You just can't do that.
It's a bit like the Eve situation, isn't it? Really, where you get that sort of stuff. You might end up with two massive great orgs.
Yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? FWD Sonorak.
You just go for the numbers. 8,
just
5, 7, 4.
This guy here.
Yeah.
Our solo players being left out. They got Squadron 42. With Squadron 42, once you've played it, then you're not going to play it again. So it's done with, isn't it? More like solo players don't want PvPers to exist. Because we want PvPers to exist. We're not saying that.
So the point, the issue I've got with this post is that Squadron 42 is earmarked for 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Not now.
Not now, yeah.
What we're talking about is like the here and now.
But this is the big. This is the big problem. We're not saying we don't want PvPers. Solo players are not saying they don't want PvPers. They're not saying that. I love the thought of being pirated. Now that you're going to have a crew in your ship, like a caterpillar, I love the thought of that. And pirates are going to have to work together as a crew. I do like the thought of that. We're not saying we don't want PvPers. What we're saying is it going to damage the funding?
I think the thing for me is we're talking about the here and now, not the future. I mean, we are talking about Squadron 42 is not out. NPCs are not out. And they're not going to be for at least 2 years. I know I'd probably say 4. But we're talking about here and now.
Yeah.
Next week, next month.
And this will be like Rust in Space.
Heiko Production. Yeah.
And David Witt. This isn't going to bother me as a solo player. If anything, it could open me up to being an org affiliate. If anything, I wouldn't mind helping out orgs with correct play and benefits, but not necessarily join said org. Either way, it's absolutely fantastic for the game. But if anything, this could help solos with place to sell. Yeah, again, for the space station stuff, that's cool. If our big orgs and with big space stations could put out contracts, that would be good. For the solo players, that's a good side of it. But
also, the other thing as well is, I mean, they've not really delved into orgs at all, have they?
No.
So you don't know whether there's going to be benefits to being an org. In which case, as long as the org is quite casual, you probably wouldn't want to be an affiliate. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's like a casual org, but it gives you 20% off of ships and stuff like that, you probably want to join it, I would have thought.
Yeah.
It's got benefits than not be affiliate. I don't know.
Yeah.
Personal choice.
Mad Manx. I remember they told us all ships will be soloed with NPC crew, would be a thing. Fast forward 10 years and all the new players, group players are bashing people that bought under the solo promise a decade ago. Blame CIG for moving the goalposts, not the people for purchasing under a different promise, which is what we're saying about the C1. All the comments about you bought the multi-crew ship, what do you expect? Well, we expected to be able to use them, but if you crew, they are better. Current direction seems to be forcing co-op to the point that solo is remotely possible. Also, many purchased before engineering was a distant thought, so making it core for all ships and essentially for multi-crew is another bait and switch for all backers. Removal of pilot weapons is also another anti-solo. Sell the pilot weapons to bait solo players, then remove them and say get a crew. Okay, where is my AI crew?
Yep.
Or my crewmates based on a number of game packages. I have liked the 8 or so year old promise. If CIG made multi-crew clear years ago, it would give validity to the anti-solo people. Unfortunately, if you backed at the beginning, they have spent more time saying everything is soloable, AI crew blades will be available soon. So also, which was addressed today in that post.
Yeah, and to be honest,
saying blades are coming with 1.0.
But that's like 3 years time, 4 years time. So
Yeah,
you're going to have another, half take of that, and I think it's a good comment from him.
Yeah.
Obviously we weren't playing the game then.
Yeah.
And it's I think if he was bought that under the sort of pretense, you'd be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
So I think people should appreciate that as well. That if you've been sticking by the game for that long, it's you can understand frustration.
Brian Geringer, I think it would be much smarter to have added stability and AI done first. We've been a much better place to fully crewed ships combat before all the other stuff comes out. I'm a solo dolo and have no interest in 42. Watch that turret section with the ship flying by in a straight line at 5 miles an hour didn't do me. Not a fan of master modes either. Hopefully we will end up with the you can stuff constellation size or M2 size well enough, and crew would be increased capabilities. And I have no interest in Polaris. Just wish they would work on all ship functionality just before moving that far ahead. The Carrot, for example, I have one and I had no idea that what to think about it, and just missing so much stuff since they can even get the cargo on it working. So this is another thing. There's another thing. Like, so when we're talking about cargo ships, and I'm saying a lot of the time, it's almost like these designs were created before they even thought about having to move cargo yourself. Like, so people that own the Carrot could go and buy stuff for the Carrot and not have to fill it themselves. And it got filled for them. So it was magical. Like, it just appeared. But anybody that's tried putting cargo into a Carrot will know it's impossible. It's not impossible but it's hard. It's like, to get one box in can take like 10 minutes because you've got to get it through a certain set of doors, then through a corridor, and you're bashing it everywhere. And it just, all they needed was for them to base to open up, and it was like it wasn't like physical cargo wasn't a thought when that came out.
I think, I totally agree. I think sometimes they make stuff up and then they realise, that might have implications.
Yeah. You can still solo in the PU, just merc and hire into a crew and leave well done. When done. Yeah, you can do. But again, that's not the argument. The argument is, why would they buy certain ships? Yeah.
Yeah, it's ships. I mean, who's outside with werewolves?
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah, again, he's just saying MMOs are not meant for solos. We understand that. It's not what we're talking about. They keep changing. They keep changing.
Yeah.
I think we've already looked at this one, haven't we?
Tickled trout.
Yeah, we've answered this one.
Yeah.
Just build a home base and be happy with it. I'm sure we answered that one.
Moving on.
I know we... See, they just keep changing.
Yeah, it just turns out we've just gone through the same question 50 times.
Have you seen where I am here? Like...
I know.
And we're 49 minutes in.
I think we'll try and keep it for now, so we might skip over load ones. How about looking for ones that have got more than one reply?
Just so many.
That one there. So this one here, which is just below, he's got 9 replies. Let's have a look at that one there. Oh, you just got rid of it.
No, I've just put contains questions here.
I'm saying if you go for the ones that have got lots of replies, there's obviously a conversation going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All these have got no replies.
No, yeah, but the questions contains question. Right, so like this one here.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at. Who's that by? Feral.
So by Feral, managing space stations seems like a full-time job. Play almost exclusively solo. Would be more happy with a small plot of land to call my own on some backwater moon. As far as manning my ships, I'm not worried about it. Take the right ship for the job and sector of space station you're going to. I've tried to keep my ships to ones that can run with 4 or less people. I did reply to this one. It will take a lot of resources. Definitely want my own plot of land.
That's definitely going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
That'll be base building.
Yeah, base building, yeah.
So that's going to happen. What happens? What counts as crew? Yeah, 2 years time though. I think this is the thing. You know, this is not going to be crew's not going to turn up next week.
No.
This is about us now until 1.0.
Yeah.
Unless I'm mistaken. Big disclaimer in there.
So 1.0 is when blades are coming in, and then they said NPCs will come in after 1.0.
I always like putting disclaimers in that I don't need to take responsibility for any of the rubbish I garble out.
When I saw Private Damien, when I started playing Star Citizen, I was a solo player for a long time, but had loads of fun doing random stuff with random people. When I decided to invest more, aka buy more ships, I aimed at small ships, small multi-cruise ships, still do, because I knew that if I wanted to fly them later down the line, I would need a couple of extra hands on deck. The fewer, the better. So I still strongly believe multi-cruise ships are designed around multiple people, although NPCs and AI blades should alleviate some of that need for getting people to group up. Looking at progression, I still think solo players will have plenty of fun and have meaningful experiences even without being part of an org, but also really don't mind having certain parts being almost impossible to do without a group player. Not too long ago, there were plenty of MMOs with large portions endgame. Content was locked behind group player and guilds. Most of the older games I had skipped large chunks of content because of those requirements. Having to deal with social anxiety and being on a spectrum, it's not always easy for me to interact with others, and in Star Citizen I hope I can still contribute and be part of something bigger whilst also giving the opportunity space to do parts of my by myself.
I think that's I think in any MMO, you know, even if you're in a guild, you still got a level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That leveling is generally PvE, or player versus environment. So I think that's ever going to go away. But I also wonder if you've got benefits, benefits of an org, like money off staff and all that sort of thing. Is that going to entice a solo player in?
Yeah.
Just on the fact that he's going to gain more out of it. I don't know.
Yeah. See, the social anxiety is a big one for me because I suffer that myself, and there's times like when we've been doing live and I've just been setting up the live to go, and my anxiety's been raging, but I still have to push through because
I don't get social anxiety. I get more self-conscious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I used to play solo games all the time until I started playing WoW. That's the first game I played, and it was like everyone could see me.
Yeah.
I'm playing a game that everyone can see me. If I go into a combat situation and I make a right mess of it, do you know what I mean? And die maybe, which obviously happens a lot. Then people can see and think, what a knob end he was. He should have used, this spell first, kite around a bit, and done all this sort of stuff. But I think after a while, you just think, wow. Star Citizen was the first game I've ever played that I don't really care if I die or not. You know what I mean? Because it happens.
Yeah. It will be nice. Nice having the thought of having your own arm will be good.
I think that's the minimum, isn't it? I think the minimum in life, isn't it? Really, having your own home.
So this one here by a message we've addressed the iBlades, and he's saying he personally doesn't want to play a game where he needs an org boss telling him what to do in a video game just to have fun. Most organisations, real or fake, operate. To me, being in a Star Citizen org feels like a capitalism in a video game. I have no interest in being an employee of a video game in a video game. That's got 48 likes. That's
it just yeah. I mean, obviously that's quite an important thing for a lot of people, but it depends how. When I used to run a guild or 2 guilds in Warcraft, we were casual players.
Yeah.
You say, does anyone want to go out for a raid, and then you get the names in. Brilliant. So it wasn't like, well, you've got to do this. It's got to be on a Thursday, you know what I mean, or a Sunday, or both, or 3-4 times a week. That's for the hardcore.
I was in an org in Destiny, like a crew in Destiny, doing the raids in Destiny 2, and we used to just get a message and say, right, we're going to do a raid at this time on this day. If you want in, just be there.
Yeah. It's a choice thing, isn't it? At the end of the day, you pay your money.
That's it.
Some people like being bullied. Some people like the pressure of feeling involved in something that's just made big in them. But I'm all about enjoyment, and that isn't enjoyment if you for me, if you're browbeaten into doing stuff.
Yeah,
that's certainly how we would roll. We wouldn't roll in our sure.
The tattooed mini. As a long-time solo player, I was never really worried about getting too much into the idea of base building or making a space station. I just wanted a ship that I could consider my home, because I want to be more of a nomadic and go where I want without having to worry about having my base raided or destroyed. So I'm not really worried about the direction the game is going, because it makes it possible for big orcs to distract themselves when fighting one another, and they will leave me alone.
So that's a good point, though.
Yeah.
That's a good point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're fighting each other, if there's big orcs.
Yeah.
So, good point. Stuff.
And he makes a good, Falliner makes a good point here. So the kind of ships you want is a nomad. As a nomad, it's probably going to be multi-crew ships. They basically said that they will be bringing pirates back, and you're going to get shot at regardless of whether you are doing. Yeah, and you're going to get griefers, aren't you?
Yeah.
So there is that to keep in mind.
Yeah. That's all.
Not interested in being a landlord.
We know about griefers.
Yeah.
890 junk griefers.
Robin Hart Jones, he comments quite a lot on our stuff. I'm mostly a solo player, and I don't see it as a problem. If I want to keep playing exactly as I do now, the only differences I will see is I have more places to buy ships and get guns, etc., and I will have more places to sell, but I mine and salvage. If I really don't want to see other people, and new functionality even allows me to build a cabin in the woods, hidden from view. It takes something like 8 SCU of ore to build a small building, and a hover trolley that fits in the cutter. It means 3 visits would get me a house. Yes, I cannot build it myself a space station and run it alone. But really, do you think you should be able to? Furthermore, we should stop groups of people from pooling their skills and resources for the space station just because a solo player cannot. No, and again, we're not saying that, Robin. We're not saying we don't want people to have these. The whole argument, or our whole argument here with the space stations, is if there is 100 big orgs, they're only going to sell 100 space stations. And, well, they might not, because loads of people might still want to buy them, but there's no point if you can't run it. But that's the point of it, is that it's not that they shouldn't have it because we can't, or the solo players can't have it. It's more about, is that going to damage funding? I'm a leaf in the wind, watch me soar.
Okay. Soar! I'm soaring.
Shouting storm. As a solo player, I'm fine with not every ship in game loop catering to me. I don't need an Idris in my daily driver. I'm fine not being a solo occupant of a city-sized space station. But in my preferred game loop is to just mind my own business, mining, hauling, manufacturing when that's the thing. I don't want to be someone else's game loop to F myself, to F my shit up, ruin my day and take everything I've worked for because I can't fly, man turrets, put out fires at the same time. It's all too much to ask. Yeah, again,
Valid
that's the
comment.
point, in it. It's not about the argument. The discussion isn't about people being left out and wanting to do all the stuff. It's the fact of if people don't feel a need to buy ships. That's the thing. I mostly only like to play solo. Hopefully, they don't forget us. I don't think we are going to be forgotten. To be honest, Samitika.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be forgotten. It's just, for me again, the big thing is the funding. For me, if people stop buying the ships because they can't run them, then that's my point. I'd love to see the numbers of how many people buy the big ships, and obviously they've got enough funding at the moment. But will that start drying up?
Well, they would know that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They'd have all the numbers and the trends. They'll look for trends. Well, do you think they'll look for trends? Over sort of 6 month period to see if there's a drop off on, in ship purchasing for something bigger than say a full crew.
Yeah.
And then that'd be interesting to see what that conversation would be like.
Yeah. Sand Squid says, "You're on point. I play solo because it's relaxing. I don't want to be a janitor for somebody's org. Now I regret purchasing a big ship."
Yeah, but unless you're obviously, if you bought a big ship, you're in for the long haul, surely. So at some point, there could be an opportunity again to have an NPC crew.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know how much it's going to cost. So I could be saying that, and it could be out of people's price range.
Yeah.
It's too expensive to have a ship or a crew full of AI NPCs. Who knows?
Yeah. I've always planned to play solo with the occasional meet up with friends. I don't go into Star Citizen enough to have friends yet. This is Johnny Walker or John Walker. With recent changes, I've melted the big ships. I had the Coyote, the Odyssey, Ironclad, and I'm just going to be able to run them because I'm not just going to be able to run them efficiently. I'm still holding on to the 600i as that is supposed to be a soloable, but my daily drive isn't going to be bigger than a Connie MSR. Oh wait, the Star Lancer.
Yeah,
I bought it. I will see how it handles solo, but the Connie is where my heart has always been.
To be honest, Connie's always been a bit of a favourite for me. If you watch some of the videos, 600i again, love the 600i.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be soloable.
Yeah.
But the Connie, different scenarios. It's going to be different scenarios. If you're in a combat situation, it's going to be difficult now.
Yeah.
In realistically, any ship, really.
I got so Sharps 777 says, ignore solo players at your peril. Not everyone wants to play with other people all the time. Most working people have limited time for gaming. It's not always possible to wait for others gathering for other players. Recruitable NPCs blades solved instantly for the solo player. However, I'm not sure it will be an issue for many years as they still haven't perfected the tech to allow you to get out of the bed in a hab. Imagine the mess base building will be in a few years when CIG can't even get the elevator to work.
That's outrageous. I just wonder about.
Outrageous.
I just wonder what people's perception of orgs are, because I'm seeing a bit of a trend in terms of that people think that orgs are a demanding place to be, where you've got to do this and you've got to do that. Well, don't. There will be plenty of casual orgs out there where you just turn up when you want, do what you want, maybe have a little bit of chat.
Our one is that. Our org is that.
Exactly. So I think there's.
Our org is be part of our org. We will have a space station. We will have stuff like that. In fact, Ardoc today texted on the Discord channel and that's what our org is going to be. And I was saying basically it's just going to be that chilled org. We'll have a space station. We'll have a base. We'll have a lot of people doing cargo-y stuff. We'll have people doing mining and salvage, all that industrial gameplay, and when maybe we'll have people that will do get crews together for raids and stuff.
I mean, we're not going to be like, do this, you have to do that. That's not really what it's about. It's about having fun and enjoying yourself, playing the game, how you want to play it.
That's it.
Events might go out. You don't have to participate. Your choice.
Yeah, that's it.
We are not a hardcore org.
No.
Until next year. No.
The Commander 5. I still maintain that some level of AI crew has to be available at one. It's simply not reasonable to expect every single person to coordinate and have the right number of trusted people online at any given moment to fully crew a ship, to build a large base, etc. You shouldn't be locked out of that much of a game just because you don't have the right amount of friends.
Again, though, this. I think the timeline is really important on this.
Yeah.
The fact that 1.0 is going to be 3 or 4 years away. I would suggest. Even if it's not, even if it's 2 years, that's a long time to play a game without, with the issues that we're talking about and everyone else talking about.
Yeah. He had a comment by Liam Palmer. He said, serious question, why can't we? Well, what is objectively wrong about being locked out of a group content because individual players don't have a large group to play with? I don't mean that badly, so please accept the spirit of this. This isn't a game problem, it's an entitlement problem because some feel they're entitled to have the content without meeting the soft requirements for it, to begin with, i.e. a large group of friends. There's a ton of games where you can solo giant ships if that's the only gameplay you really care about. I don't understand the sense of entitlement that states we should be able to access everything without having the prerequisites for that game content in the first place.
Hang on, whilst that is true, I don't think that's really what we're...
No, yeah, he answered that to the question that I just said a minute ago about the AI crew and not being locked out stuff.
All over it. It's been a long day.
So, yeah, and the thing is well, CIG will take our money for it. You know what I mean? So they'll take our money and let us have these big ships, but then we can't use them.
But as I said earlier, though, if you're going to spend out £700 on a ship, you're in the game for the long haul. They make it perfectly clear timelines of when stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you've got to add some onto that, obviously. So you melt them down.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the ships you buy now, there's going to be a better ship along the road. To be honest. You know what I mean? They'll always make ships redundant almost by bringing out new ships.
So we got James something. That's his name. James something. Excellent point. And it's not for psychological reasons, often simply practical reasons. Players are in multiple time zones worldwide, have real lives, work, school, athletics, or even other gaming, often very difficult to coordinate with each other in the same org. If CIG insists on players within an org working together on a project like base development and defense, they're shooting themselves in the foot. Star Citizen is not a full-time job. Also, not every time we do log in, we have immediately org-based play. CIG's forcing use of multiplayer ships may look great in the event like CitizenCon, but there's an understanding and growing misunderstanding of its players and pledge contributors. If we had AI, true AI, enhanced NPCs to take up the roles of complex ships, battle, and so on, as NVIDIA demonstrated last year, then we can contract by, etc. That might be an option, but all in all, my take is that CG needs to balance the multiplayer gameplay with solo gameplay and not punish those that may belong to orgs but not feel being in an org to engage with Star Citizens for a day, a week, year, etc., and include worthwhile rewards for solo players.
It's good points, but again, I think long way down the road.
Yeah.
Nowhere near stuff like that. And I don't think it's going to
be... The NPCs is going to be a while.
Yeah, I don't... But even so if you go back up again, even if the bit with multiplayer gameplay and solo gameplay needs to balance it, I think it's still...
I think there is a single player coming along. I think they said with 1.0 there's a single player coming along where you'll also have skills as well.
There's a problem though, isn't it? As we said multiple times. That's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road. What about now? What about the here and now?
Yeah.
How do you know from here onwards, how do you play your game?
And some people might say to that, you're not playing a game, you're in an alpha. But I always argue back with that and say, I bought a ship and I'm playing a game. I might be in an alpha and testing it, but I'm actually playing it.
And in reality, the game we played 2 years ago, whatever it was, is not the game we're playing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're growing with the game as it's growing, but it's a time thing.
I think spot on. Also feel like CGI hasn't kept up with the general player base. People who don't generally have hours a day to grind the space books or wait for all the time since they've been implementing.
That's always going to be a problem.
Yeah. So, First JJ says, we all know we just don't want to face the fact that the big orgs are going to sweep across the verse, running over every single player or groups. If in doubt, just take reference of other games where players compete and group up in large numbers. So I'm presuming Eve is like that.
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's going to probably head like Eve anyway. I think we should probably make this the last few questions, mate.
Yeah. As a small group org, mainly me playing, I'll stick to very little outpost and I'll have a count on allies for the rest. I get the concerns.
Yeah.
Slick. Yeah, again, it's not. So it's like, it feels like, there's two sides to this, or maybe even three sides. So our original video, sort of, I wanted to sort of get across what's in it for the solo players, and will solo players stop buying bigger ships, and will that affect the funding? Now, there seems to be two or three different views in here. Some are talking about like the space station stuff. Some are talking about the point of the multi-crew ships, and then some are talking about the solo player. Well, there's a solo player game, and big orgs, it's an MMO. So that seems to be the theme of the discussion here.
I think
so. Let's address those three things.
I think everyone's right and everyone's wrong.
Yeah. So let's address the three things. The three things for me is right. So my concern is, if you start gearing your ships with engineering to make you have to have a crew without NPCs and blades coming in at the moment, nobody's going to buy bigger ships. The solo players are not going to buy bigger ships. There's no point. It will stop me wanting to buy bigger ships as a solo player, and so that could in turn hurt funding, which then could hurt the maintenance of the servers. The MMO route and the solo player is, yeah, everyone should be allowed to do everything they want to do. If you want to build a space station, you should be allowed to build a space station. As a solo player, it might take you longer and you won't be able to defend it, but you should still be able to do it if you want to do it. And you should also have the option to join an org if you want to join an org. And for me, the MMO route, Squadron 42 side of route, or the single player route, yeah, it is an MMO, but we all pay our money just as much as each other, you know? So, okay. And Squadron 42 is only going to last probably a few months for a player to play.
Okay. I mean, on the point of buying and selling ships, I think there'll always be someone that wants to buy. Let's be honest, there's people that bought the 14 grand set or the 42 grand, whatever it is.
Yeah.
On the basis of future. I'm investing in the future of the game. Hence the management. I know I can't fly the moon. At the time, probably could have done. Obviously, when I bought it 2 years ago, but it's increasingly possible to do that. So I'm buying it for the future. So I'm buying it for 1.0. That's not to say that I don't burn it down for something better that comes along.
Yeah.
So I think there is validity to all of it. It's just about people, what they want to do, how they see the vision. Are they seeing this as a short-term investment? Which obviously is not. And space stations, again, I think I think Star Citizen are trying to be, like life, and there's only a certain few that will be able to build a space station on their own. I think a big one. I think sometimes maybe people have had bad experiences of orgs or guilds and stuff where it's been really regimented. I think that if there's benefits to being in an org, then more people join it.
Yeah.
And again, I think a lot of this stuff, this announcements Dave, what CIG have said, I think it's relevant. It's going to be relevant in 1.0, but it's not really relevant now because we've got enough to show for it. We won't have 2, 3, 4 years. So, this conversation is about now going forward.
Yeah.
Not 1.0, which is, hopefully by then we'll have some sort of a lot more detail about NPCs and AI and all that fun stuff. But today, tomorrow, a month, a year, how is it going to play out for a solo player? That's the more burning question, I think, the root cause ish.
Yeah.
And as I said, we haven't got any figures or data, so we don't really know. We're just chucking it out there to see what your reactions are.
Yeah. So we've been recording now for about an hour, and we've not even scratched the surface of all these. There's some really, really good ones as well, but unfortunately we can't read them all and go through them all.
Yeah.
I did read this one the other day actually. He said, "Thanks for opening up this debate for without any silliness. For me, as an older guy who's been into games since the 80s, I've seen a lot come and go. Many others have said there are a lot of us in real life stuff, which means we don't want to or can't play an org style gaming. Don't want to be talking on Discord because it creates overload and fatigue over time, but still do put in a fair few number of hours a week pursuing our own goals and just having a bit of fun when we want. Switch off in real life. Okay, so we don't join org. Why not join an org then? Well, for me, I want to be able to just put the game down and do real life stuff without disappointing others. Sorry guys, I've got to go. Yeah, we're doing some great stuff. One more hour, we'll win us X, but I've got to go. And no, sorry, but at the weekend or at 3 p.m. or whatever, so I can't defend the station when called upon. Having been there in Eve, I can see a huge potential and new progression in crafting and the guilds but also how, yes, it will become pointless to play alone. As a loner, you really won't achieve anything meaningful, so we'll probably try a bit of casual org stuff cautiously, as it tends to drag you in and become a second career no matter how casual the org. But ultimately I will probably draft away as the communities increase. I own a fairly decent fleet of ships from an F8 and other fighters and a few other tiny ones, Pisces, Fury, etc, Vulture, Prospector to grind out some money, Constellation Taurus, Corsair to drag out around boxes, up to a C2. I bought in at the moment of madness Reclaimer that I regret every time I enter the stupidly large hangar and walk to the Pisces that I've just called. I now have a sticky on my screen saying don't buy anything you can't fly alone. So yes, CIG will lose me as a ship customer, as I foresee increasingly those large ships being underutilised and either sold off, gifted away or melted to buy smaller stuff that comes out, as I end up sitting in my minimum cost shack in the woods on some faraway planet doing the occasional bit of FPS or casual events and crafting a few bits in here and there to pay my taxes. After a while I'll become just a chore to log in and grind out something that pays the bills to keep the shack from being taken away. Then I will no doubt just walk away from the game, as the history shows and many others have done with the latest and greatest games over the years." Well, that was a really good
well, I'm depressed.
G got 2.
Right, I'm just quitting. That's it, I'm selling all my ships. I mean, it's it doesn't, a lot of these comments don't paint orgs in a good light.
Yeah.
Like, they're even super casual ones, I mean, again, in Warcraft, I say guilds, and, if people's, logging off, they just say, right, good night, everyone, get the usual responses, have a good one and stuff, and that was it. I mean, I don't know what people's expectations of stuff like that is, but it's a personal choice, isn't it, at the end of the day? I think I walked away from Warcraft probably properly from the guild 9 years ago, because it was sucking up my life. So I've been tempted to go back. I know we've talked about doing Warcraft, haven't we? It's like it'd almost be like playing a new game for me. So I don't know. Yeah.
I'm just going to read this this one for Anne Marie. Anne Marie is part of our Discord. He does some really good stuff. He went to Manchester.
I also think it's Anne Marie. So,
Anne Marie.
Yeah.
He went to Manchester. He said, "I'm watching this on my way from Manchester to Abu Dhabi. It was an amazing conference. I think Star Citizen are following the online model, the EVE Online model. If you want to be solo, you can stick to solo game loops in high-sec systems and enjoy your time. If you're looking for high risk, high reward in no-sec systems, then you'll need to plan with some org members or external alliance org members and get the job done. I don't think a single org will be able to cover that end of the game content flang to flang. I'm not too sure what that means. They need to collaborate with other orgs."
And then I suppose, what is endgame? What is endgame on this?
Space station. That's what they were saying.
Really?
The space station is the end game for orgs.
Really?
Yeah. Running a space station. There's so many really good comments that I can't. Sorry guys, we can't go through them all. It would just be a massive long video to go through all these. Me and Kilthanis will go through them all and try and answer some of these.
Yeah.
In text on them. But we know it's not an easy job to go through 300 comments and replies, because we've got to read it and then come up with a meaningful answer to that, which can take a bit of time.
Yeah, definitely.
So just going to end this one, guys. Sorry to those that we couldn't get to. We will go through the comments, and I have read a lot of comments already on when I'm sat around on my phone.
So,
and wish I could get through them all, but unfortunately we can't. So
just a quickie out there as well. So, obviously, we do a lot of, Meninx does all the trading, and that's kind of put us in a little bit of a niche market. But did you enjoy this conversation? Is it something that you'd like to see in the future? Do we know a bit more chat? I know we used to back in the day, but we've kind of sort of stuck away, from that.
We didn't seem to get a massive engagement on it, did we?
No. Is this something you'd like to see us do more often? Maybe on a monthly basis, an update or stuff like that. Let us know.
Yeah.
Because I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah. Like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time for us to get through these comments, and I'll try and answer as many as I can. I have tried answering a couple, but I wanted to stay away until this video.
Yeah.
But I'll try and get through them. Especially there's a lot of people, regulars such as Dingbat here, that do come on. I do see a lot of regular names that have commented, and I will try and get through as many as I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a pitch here. We do have a filter here at the top, and it goes for people that either do super thanks or as channel member. And so if you become a channel member, it will come up on there, and we will generally go and answer those ones first. The super chats and the channel members will go through them first, because we put them as priority.
That is a Meninx hint right there.
Yeah. Hit that join button, guys, if you want.
Yeah,
you get badges and stuff like that.
Don't delay. Subscribe today.
So we're going to end this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I mean, it's just us talking and going through these comments, and like I said, I think we went through the 3 points. We're not complaining about solo. We're not solo players, because we do have an org. We're not complaining about solo players having not having a space station. We're happy for orgs to have these space stations. We're not talking about solo players having and managing and running a space station. We're talking more about will solo players stop funding the servers, the server upkeep, if they keep going towards more org stuff.
But it's good to branch out from the original conversation, obviously.
Yeah.
And have other different point of views within the game. So we appreciate all that as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So that's it, guys. Sorry we couldn't get to your comment. We will try and get through them, me and Kilthanis. Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, don't forget to hit that button, stick a little like button, hit the bell and subscribe notification. I'm gonna go and maybe play around with I think I might have a Freelancer Max, because I bought the Max earlier, the Starliner Max.
I'm gonna grab
Solo
a copy.
solo players won't buy big ships, so I went and
Yeah.
bought a Starlac. Actually, I traded in the Zeus MR for it. So I only paid $30, but I knew it would. I think I'd get a max or a freelancer max, and I wanted to go on use that freelancer max for videos, so that's why I did that. So yeah, I'm gonna go and do some videos with that.
Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Have a good one.